Good evening, everyone. Simiso already introduced me, but for those of you who are not in the room, my name is Nkuli Mashabane. I work for Ezinja. I help direct the operational aspects of our clinical trials. So thank you to the previous speaker for actually setting the scene very nicely for what I'm about to share. I think I'm more a very practical person, consider myself to be very practical. And I think what I'm hoping to share is directly linked to what she said, because she mentioned that we have what it takes, but we've convinced ourselves that we can't do it. So through this Optimize grant, we've actually learned that how you set yourselves up can actually help you to optimize your resources and be able to do more than just deliver on primary and secondary objectives. So, I mean, there's a lot we can say about clinical trials and what works and what doesn't work, but because I only have 4 minutes now, I've had to, shorten it to this. But these we found with the 3 key considerations that have helped us use what we have to not only deliver on the primary objectives that have actually informed policy, but we've actually had such an amazing community reach through our clinical trials infrastructure. The first one should be obvious, but I think we tend to glance over it, especially you scientists, I think are very, tend not to take due consideration to making sure that you've got the right people in the right roles when you set yourselves up to conduct this particularly large-scale clinical trials that are investigator-initiated. Second one is an important one, but I mean, compliance obviously is a requirement in clinical trials, but that shouldn't be the goal. It should be your departure point. I'll get into that just now. And last but not least, you need to be able to leverage enabling technology. Not all technology is good technology. So if you're fortunate enough to find enabling technology, it does set you up for success and to be able to optimize resources. So I suppose the question begs, what makes the right people right in the context of clinical trial conduct, particularly in low and middle income countries where, I mean, we've heard this whole week about how we are so resource constrained. This is what we found in our setting. You have to have a combination of, you can't have thinkers and doers. You have to have thinking doers. It has to be all in one person, because if you've got others who are thinking and others who are doing, and there's a loss in translation, you reduce your ability to optimize your resources. Teachable disruptors, innovation. You can't be living with the status quo, but be wanting to optimize resources. The two are not synonymous. Team-mindedness, I think that's why we're all in here. I mean, a lot of the speakers have spoken about how we need to be leveraging on each other. And until we learn to do that effectively, we will not be able to optimize resources the way we could. Inspired consciousness, accountable autonomy. I think that's sort of self-explanatory, but maybe the two terms a lot of the time don't sit together. But you need to have teams that are able to be autonomous, but you need to be able to hold them accountable. And if you take the right person and do not create an enabling environment, they become the wrong person. Last but not least, ethical leadership. It's a rare species, I find, but I think when you're fortunate enough to find that, you actually are able to very effectively optimize resources. The other point I was making about being able to build on compliance, a lot of traditional sites find themselves chasing compliance. They'll be told they have an FDA audit tomorrow, and then today they are checking their informed consents. And what we found is there's a different paradigm where your compliance becomes your departure point. And as a goal, you work towards process innovation. So set your systems up to be able to take care of all the regulatory requirements, but as a team, you work towards process innovation. And Trott in his book does speak to the tension that will exist when you're trying to innovate while you're also trying to ensure that you are complying, particularly in an industry that's as regulated as clinical trials. But we have found that it is possible. It is not impossible. And the third point I had made about enablers, those of you who don't know RedCap, yeah, you are missing out. It's been an amazing resource for us. I think it's enabled us to do a lot more than what we could have done with very limited resources. And traditional clinical research organizations can be a nightmare, but we found that there is an opportunity to partner with them differently, such that there's actual active skills transfer, and that's what we've seen in our setting, and it has helped make our teams a lot more independent. And we have a very unique relationship with community-based organizations. Just as the previous speakers have said, it's impossible to do this work without actively engaging the community. And we engage the community even within our clinical trials. And obviously, scientific collaborations are key to all this work. Challenges are always there, but not only because I'm out of time, but I think if we had to dwell on challenges, we'd miss the opportunity to rather dwell on opportunities. So my last slide, I think we do have a unique opportunity to re-engineer how we view the clinical trials infrastructure and the setup and the potential that lies within that infrastructure when it's set up optimally. So what we are planning to set ourselves up, because we're always setting ourselves up for very ambitious targets, but as a way of working towards the 2030 goals, we think it is possible to increase our technical and change aptitude while finding very innovative ways to reduce input costs, because clinical trials are very expensive. But it is possible to bring down the cost so that we are not only better prepared for the next pandemic, because I think we're all aware that the funds that went into the COVID response, it is not likely that we will have that level of investment when, not if, when the next pandemic hits us. So it makes sense for us to prepare ourselves now using the infrastructures that have worked for us to just be better prepared for the next pandemic. Thank you.